what would you advise them not to do when they first start mixing?
Overdo it.
Overmix,
Find
yes.
a lot of people just overdoing it.
Yeah.
If you're mixing for a client, learn and understand their brief. Make sure you go through the brief with them. Otherwise, you're going to just start over-engineering everything and making it sound crap.
Right.
So it's rein it in, small bits.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Take exactly as that.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. What are some common mistakes that beginners you would think might make when they first start getting into mixing and mastering? And like, if you were to give them advice, like what would you advise them not to do when they first start mixing?
Overdo it.
Overmix,
Find
yes.
a lot of people just overdoing it.
Yeah.
If you're mixing for a client, learn and understand their brief. Make sure you go through the brief with them. Otherwise, you're going to just start over-engineering everything and making it sound crap.
Right.
So it's rein it in, small bits.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Take exactly as that.
Yeah. So you're a mixing engineer. You're also a mastering engineer. So you do both.
Yep.
And you are, even though you're in the UK, you can work with anybody worldwide, I imagine, right? Yeah. So, do you have any projects that you're currently working on? Or is there any,
Not at the moment, no. I'm deliberately not searching for clients because I'm just going through what I do and niching down a little bit more.
I see. Okay. So let me ask you, do you prefer to mix music or do you prefer to master music?
At the moment, I prefer to master music.
Right. It's a different animal. I think people, generally bedroom producers will just assume like, like I know I did it for a long time where I would just mix my song and then I would just limit it, like it'd almost be like a half-ass mastering, just like, and then just go with it. And I have since stopped doing that. So I'll do a mix with a lower dB and then create a whole new session at a different time. Like I'll usually I'll never mix and master on the same day, just have fresh ears on it. And there are times where I'll put it into the mastering session and I'm listening to it. I'm like, oh, I got to go back to the mix. This isn't even workable. We had a friend of ours that does engineering work, has been doing it for decades now. And he was mixing one of our band's songs and he added, I think it was a little bit of reverb or some sort of distortion to one of the guitar solos. And it wasn't in the brief. And our guitarist called and said, what the hell is this? He didn't like it at all. And so I had to explain to him and he's like, oh yeah, I just thought it would sound cool. And I thought it sounded great, but I'm like, well, that's not what our guitarist wants. He's like, I'll take it out, so, but I know exactly what you mean. Briefs are important, especially when you're working with clients, like I think I was trying to frame the question as more of like a bedroom producer. If somebody was
producer is straight away, learn your products, learn your DAW, learn your plugins. Most importantly, learn your monitoring.
Right.
If like me, you're not in an ideal place, these little fellas are the best, but I do have a decent set of monitors as well. And it is acoustically treated as best I can do at the moment. But
no, headphones are great. I actually, we're using headphones here. You just can't see them so much, but I don't really have room treatment. And I know that I would never be able to just fine tune it anyway, even if I did treat some of it. So to me, I'd prefer I'm just well, I'm just going to make it look nice. There's already some room treatment just by having shit in the room, but, speaking of that other guy, it was where we were recording one time and I went to do vocals and I think, he just grabbed a condenser mic and put it in the hallway. No treatment. It was in the hallway. I mean, it was away from, because he has a studio in his house. So it was just this hallway that goes down to the bedroom. And I'm just sitting in there in the middle and I'm recording this. And the whole time I'm thinking this is just the strangest place to track vocals because of the room ambiance or whatever. And I got to say, man, it came out fantastic. And then that just kind of had my brain reeling a little bit well, maybe I don't need to have all this fancy vocal booth and stuff, maybe it's just, I mean, I guess if it was at ultra pro level, then you'd probably be going to a nice studio anyway.
So down the road, I mean, as you grow your brand and you grow your craft, would you, given the resources, would you like to have a fully operational recording studio to be able to, if a band wanted to come in and do things to come in to do the recording on top of everything else, or are you kind of focused on staying in the mixing and mastering side of things?
Ultimately, I'd like to. I am in the process of designing a studio that I can build in the garden. Because bizarrely enough, my next door neighbours, they were in rock band.
All right, that's convenient. To be honest, that's actually really cool.
So they'd like
never my case.
They want a practice room,
right?
And a practice room that's attached with a mixing engineer and a mastering engineer is like, oh, heaven for them.
All right,
right. Yeah, that works out.
Ultimately, I'd like to. Originally, I was on the goal of doing a full transition, going from a day job, transitioning into the mixing, and then completely converting. Doing the maths, it's not going to happen. I'm never going to earn the money that I earn in my day job doing the mixing and mastering. Not unless I'm turning over probably about 40 mixes a month or something daft like that.
Yeah, or you win the lottery, man. Or you end up mixing somebody.
Keep trying.
That's. I mean, really, you could mix and master an album of an artist, and then they blow up, and
absolutely,
and they love that sound of that you produced or whatever. They specifically ask for you, and then that's when you have other like label studios flying you into their studio to do it, and then pick up work. So it's kind of the same thing as like just being an artist, like sometimes you're lucky, sometimes but you're right. Most of the probable is that, yeah, you do it at that point, then you have to ask yourself, why do I do it? And I ask myself that all the time because I've invested a lot of money and my time, and like, what's the point? And it's because it's fun. It's because it brings peace to me. And that way I can deal with the rest of life, on the outside.
If you don't find it fun, don't do it.
Right.
And that is, honestly, I think that is a concept and a phrase in one way or another that has come up on every episode that we've done so far, because this is not, an industry. This is not a choice that is going to be financially lucrative, unless you're extremely lucky, fortunate, and talented. And blessed.
Like, it's not just talent, it's not just luck. It's you kind of have to have both at the same. It's like the stars got to align.
You could be the most talented artist in the world, and and it's never going to pan out. You could have marginal talent and have good luck, and it might happen. It's just got to be a harmonic convergence of all of it. But the bottom line is, if you're not having fun, if you're not enjoying it, if you're not doing it because it's something that you love to do, then it's not worth it.
Yeah. You're going to spend a lot of time in the studio or, let's say, practicing in the band like you guys do. If you're not having fun, what's the point?